have on the show two young founders with us today. First, we're going to go over to Savar Kumar. He's a founder of Break Free Club. We also have with us Sanjali Nirwani. She's the founder of the Unlock Bar, Kitchen and Escape Room. And we'll talk to both of them. We'll go over to both of them one by one to understand a little bit about what drove this huge change. Savar, we're coming over to you first just to understand. Savar, tell us, Break Free is a relatively new initiative in that it's about 7 months old. Why did you create Break Free Club? What's the story there? Tell us a little bit about what it's looked like over the last 7 months.
Sure, I would love to. Thanks for having me, Toya. So Break Free Club is a community of people returning to mindfulness, nature, movement, and a strong-knit community of like-minded people, which I started, as you said, 8 months ago. And we do all sorts of activities, from going cliff jumping on the weekend to a trek or a camping trip overnight, or something in town like an ice bath and sauna event, or a boxing session, and a meditation and breakfast on the weekend. The reason that I started Break Free Club was because it was about time, right? I mean, it's exactly like what you said. I think that there's been something kind of missing. There's something missing when you're attached to a screen all day because you have to work, probably under fluorescent lighting, and disconnected from nature or movement in the sun. Then the rest of your day is also looking at a screen, because our rest from looking at a screen is also where our social needs are met and our entertainment needs are met on Instagram and Netflix. And so a whole day kind of goes disconnected from some of these things that brought us a more meaningful sense of joy and contentment. And we're kind of perpetually stressed and anxious. But in response to that, we're compulsively watching, thinking, doing, consuming, listening, reading something online or someone else's thought, or even just busy work from work. And I think there's this, life is kind of cyclical, right? There's a longing for something deeper, for something meaningful, and something that makes people a little bit happy. And I wanted Break Free Club to be a function of that change. And in the last 7 months, on the treks we've gone to, on the meditations that we've done, I was surprised at how many people would wake up at 5 a.m. and go and meditate for an hour with a group of strangers. But it shows to me, it's evidence that there is so much of a craving for this kind of change.
Let me just tell our audiences, Savar, on the right side, right kind of in the center of your screens, what you're looking at right now are visuals from the Break Free Club. So those are some of the adventures they go on. These are typically hikes and treks that you can do. Sometimes I believe, Savar, it's within the same day. Sometimes it is over the course of 2 days. And this is largely around Maharashtra, but you do plan to grow it out into a bigger thing, hopefully nationally, in the next few years. Savar, what's the story behind Break Free? Why is it called Break Free? Where did it come from? Tell us a little bit.
Yeah, I would love to. So I think this is in college, while I was studying in the US, I felt very deeply about this problem about compulsive phone usage, how we don't really have attention of freedom and attention of mind. Because in every moment, in every waking moment, we're kind of doing something that is against what we most deeply want to do. And so I built an app initially called Break Free from your phone to help people with the same problem through some different mechanisms. And while it eventually didn't work out with the app due to certain reasons, I eventually found my way back to figuring out the same problem, but finding a deeper solution. And I thought that the deeper solution to these larger problems of compulsive overconsumption that we face in society at large, which extends beyond phone usage, is solved by deeper practices like connecting with others, meditating, and also being in nature. And so the experience going on the 10-day Vipassana retreat also inspired me to make meditation a big part of this community, which I feel that everyone aspires to do, but very few of us actually get around to doing it because of how difficult it is, how confusing it can be to meditate. There's so many misconceptions around it. And so I kind of wanted to build a culture around doing these difficult things that we all aspire to do, to wake up at 5 a.m., to go for a trek, to go for a run, to meet new people, but we rarely end up doing.
Okay, so Savar, stay with us. We're going to come back to you because we haven't actually dived deeper into what it's been like, what people's experiences have been. But we need to shift focus right now to another guest for a second. So Sanjali Nirwani is also with us, and Sanjali has done something very, very different. So Sanjali, you founded Unlock Bar, and I just want to tell our audiences, some of them may not know what an escape room is. It's essentially a room where you're locked inside. You have to figure out how to get outside. There are some clues. It's like a game. So you have an escape room, but you also have board games. And that's a really simple way in which people can interact with each other. And the cool thing about Unlocked is it's not new. It's something that's been around for years now in multiple cities. Again, it's not a one city operation. Tell us a little bit, Sanjali, about your founding story. So what did you see as the need for it, and how have the last few years looked like? Is it just lots and lots of encouragement from people? Have there been, bumps in that journey? Tell us a little bit more.
Hi, Toya. Thank you for having me. So yes, like you mentioned, Unlocked started with a very simple yet powerful vision for me. It was an idea to create that perfect third space, a space where people can come together and they can just connect with each other, form real meaningful connections. How this was ideated for me personally was back in 2014. I went to business school in Barcelona, and I was introduced to this brilliant board game called Settlers of Catan. Here I used to play Catan with a bunch of my friends from all over the world. This was people from America, Puerto Rico, any country that you name it, and board game was something that really connected us. It was true friendships and true rivalries that were formed. That idea stayed with me. Then I moved to Amsterdam and I was exposed to the idea of an escape room as a very immersive activity. A few years later, when I moved back to India, I found the entertainment space in India to be slightly limited to eating out or going for a movie. I wanted to disrupt that cafe culture, which was already booming. And what better way to do it than board games? So here I decided to combine good food, great ambience, along with board games, along with an escape room. And that's how Unlock was born. This was back in 2017. It's been a good 8+ years. I still can't believe it because it feels like a new phenomenon and a baby for me. But it's been an incredible journey. In fact, I have first-handedly seen this whole culture of board gaming evolve in our country. We're not new to board gaming. Back in the day, as kids, we used to play Uno or Ludo, Snakes and Ladders. Even in Mahabharata, there was a game of dice. But then now, this evolution has become more like a movement. There are modern board games such as like Catan, Scythe, Wingspan, Cards Against Humanity, you name it. We have a list of like 200+ board games that we have in our library. We saw the shift. Initially, we used to see only maybe a niche audience, the somewhat like nerds who used to be playing board games or the enthusiasts. But as we started hosting regular board gaming nights, we saw something incredible happen. These people who came in for maybe like a casual board game night with their friends, they started bringing their friends, their colleagues, their families over to Unlocked. And the best part was they would learn a game, they would fall in love, and they would take it back with them, back to their homes, back to their offices, and this culture just boomed. And how? So it's a movement which I feel India is just at the brink of, because internationally there are new games which are coming out. Like every year there are hundreds of games that come out. Any topic that you think of, there is a game for it. And the only thing that matters when you play a game is you could be sitting across anybody on the table, and yet the only thing on your mind is how do you win. Somebody who's as competitive as me, you would think about what's the next strategy, how do you win, and that's what I see, that the real connections are really formed, and business is doing well, touch wood. So I think this trend is here to stay for sure. Like I said, it's a movement, it's a revolution, and not just a trend.
Let me ask both of you a really pessimistic question then, all right, Sanjali, because you've painted such a beautiful picture, and I want to ask both of you this then. These moments that people are taking away from their phones, so whether it is Savar, traveling, trekking, or Sanjali, whether it is sitting down in front of a chessboard, the pessimistic view of all of this is that these are just a few moments away that one is taking in a week. today we're too deeply embedded into our gadgets for this to actually be meaningful in a bigger way, for it to actually change our brain chemistry in any meaningful way. I want to ask you how both of you respond to that, I know, pessimistic thought. Savar, we'll come to you first.
Yes, I would love to answer that. I feel like this initial stage of technology where we've been very addicted to our phones and it's been socially engineered to be made so addictive. I think it was just going to be the initial phase where we were figuring it out. Companies had different intentions and incentives to extrapolate as much of our time as possible. But now there's such a deep thirst for more mindful use of technology, and I think people genuinely want technology to both serve our functions. Like, for example, I want to be able to use Google Maps, I want to be able to use Notes, I maybe want to be able to access Spotify or different apps on my phone while limiting the addictive aspects of it. And I think that this world is not only possible, it's inevitable that it'll happen. And I think that it's been proven that a single experience of meditation for non-experienced meditators can change your brain structure. A single experience in nature can also change the way that your brain is wired. It can make you far more present, far more creative, release a lot of anxiety. As something as simple as a deep breath in a forest it's literally been scientifically proven to release anxiety. And so, as it becomes a part of our life, doing these things on a daily basis, going to nature, even at a small level, going for walks outside, as we become more connected, our whole experience changes. And why can't we have both? Why can't we have the benefits of technology while also not being extremely anxious, addicted, and stressed out as well?
I love that. You're essentially, it sounds quite utopian, is essentially it. And it's beautiful. Let me just come over to Sanjali to ask you. Sanjali, answer that question, but also tell me, when people are playing board games, are they still checking their phones?
Oh my God, this is the coolest aspect about board games, that nowadays people can't go without looking at their phones every 5 minutes. But I have first-handedly seen, once you play a game, at least maybe 3 hours, 4 hours, nobody is even picking up their phones because you're so engrossed in that particular game. You're so engrossed in trying to have a conversation with the person across the table. That for me is the coolest aspect, because like you mentioned, we're living in this attention economy, right? Where brands like Instagram, Netflix, they are hiring the best of marketers to actually monetize eyeballs. Here, we're trying to build a different kind of addiction. Like somebody who comes in, they might play something as easy as an Uno, but then we make them get into like a gateway strategy game. Then we go into a marathoner, or you could just come in for a glass of beer with your friends, but you can play like a party game. The whole idea is the way you unlock your phones, and you unlock a bunch of activities in your phone, be it Instagram, be it online games, chats. But at Unlocked, you're taking that whole experience in an offline mode. You're coming in, you're having conversations with people, you're trying to interact with people, but like without actually looking at a physical screen, and it is super refreshing.
That's also why you're called Unlocked, I would imagine.
That's one of the reasons we are called Unlocked, yes.
Okay, that's amazing. Savar, and thank you. Savar, thank you so much for telling us all of this. Sanjali, thank you for telling us, just breaking down for us why it is that Unlocked is sticking with people and has been sticking with people over the last few years. We wish both of you good luck. Sanjali's Unlocked is available in many places across the country. Savar, we're hoping you'll grow across the country so people can go out and experience nature. Thank you both of you for joining us and for taking out the time.
Thank you so much.